What is up, boyos, and welcome to Last Week in Games, where everything is video games. And today I am joined by nobody. It's great to see your faces. Thank you so much for being here. And we've got some video game news to talk about that happened last week, the week of September 4th. First of all, I want to touch on Starfield. Starfield was released officially last week. And I did want to point out here how annoying it is going to GameSpot.com and trying to find news articles, and you go to GameSpot and this is what you see. Starfield, where to find the Starborn trader. Starfield, can you pilot Starborn ships? How to skip the entire main quest in Starfield. Starfield, New Game Plus guide. Starfield, endings guide. Look at all of these. These are all Starfield in their news section. You go to page 2. Even more. This is all Starfield. It feels like free advertising, right? Like, what are you doing, GameSpot? Stop giving them free advertising and actually just talk about the video game news. If there's something to say about Starfield, say it. But all of this is crazy. It almost feels like Xbox paid them or something. But I will say they did the same thing with Baldur's Gate. So it's just a popular game. So they're pumping out as much content as they can. Well, they can, I guess. It doesn't even seem like it gets that much clicks. To me, it just makes me want to go to a different website than GameSpot for video game news. That's how I feel. All that being said, I have been playing Starfield and I have been enjoying it. I think it's a pretty fun game. I know it's been kind of divisive, but personally, I think it's pretty fun, and I know everyone's saying, like, you got to wait 12 hours to actually hit the meat and potatoes of this game. I'm not 12 hours in, and I feel like I'm actually thoroughly enjoying what I'm experiencing so far. My character's name is Ryan Gosling, and I love Ryan Gosling, and he's the best character ever. He's literally me. But I'll probably have more to say about Starfield next week, because I haven't played that much. I'm probably like maybe 4 or 5 hours into it. But so far, I'm really enjoying my time with it. Let's get into the section here we lovingly call the titties. These are some tidbits of news we feel are worth mentioning. First and foremost, Nintendo announced that there is no Tears of the Kingdom DLC planned, which is surprising considering there was Breath of the Wild DLC. So kind of sad that we won't get any DLC, but hopefully that just means they're going to go straight into working on whatever the next project is, be it Zelda or whatever else they're working on. Looking forward to whatever that is. Tears of the Kingdom has enough content as it is. I don't think it really needs a DLC anyway. Although it would probably add value to the Nintendo Plus Online. Next titty here, it was sort of announced last week that Stray, the hit video game about a cat, is being turned into a movie for Netflix. After the success of Nimona, they decided, let's make more movies. And it seems we're getting a Stray movie. And I believe it's going to be all motion capture animated, which is a good idea for a movie like this. I think a live action Stray movie would be hard to do with like a cat actor. It would all be motion cap anyway. I loved Stray. I thought it was a great game, and I'm interested to see how they turn into a movie. Here's a quote from the studio co-lead, Robert Baird. "This is a game that's all about what makes us human, and there are no humans in it. It's a buddy comedy about a cat and a robot, and there's such a hilarious dynamic. So there's comedy inherent in this, but there's not one human in this movie. I think it's one of the reasons why the game was incredibly popular, that you are seeing the world through the point of view of an adorable cat." And I gotta give it to him. That's true. It was just great playing as a cat, and I think a movie will translate well. Couple rumors that came across my desk over the past week. First rumor is that we are potentially going to get a Nintendo Switch Direct next week, potentially. I don't know what they would show at this Nintendo Direct. What would be insane is if they decide to announce whatever the Switch 2 is at this Direct. I highly doubt it, but that would be insane. Maybe it's gonna be a Direct that really pushes last little bit of life that the Switch has in it. So the last few big games that are coming out for the Switch, maybe Metroid Prime. My actual prediction, though, is that we're probably not going to get anything too interesting. We'll probably just get some updates to some games we already know about. maybe some ports. Maybe Persona 3 Remake is going to get announced for the Switch. That would be pretty sweet. So I'm not expecting too much, but there is a possibility that we get something insane at this Direct. But don't get your hopes up. The other rumor is that we're going to get a PlayStation State of Play sometime next week or within the coming weeks. What we could see at this, I have no idea. It does seem like after Spider-Man drops, Sony has really nothing on the table as far as upcoming releases for the next part of early next year. So maybe we'll get a couple games announced for early next year. But once again, I kind of doubt that as well. I imagine it's going to be a bunch of indies, maybe some games coming to PS Plus Extra, you know, something light like that. But it would be cool to see something more substantial. I feel like Sony's been really quiet lately, but they've had a steady clip of games come out. You know, this year we've got Spider-Man. So what else do you really need? So that's something to look out for next week. It's not been officially announced. This is all just rumors. But it would be nice to see a state of play. I feel like Sony's been very, very quiet. Let's get into the news here. YouTube is testing out something interesting. YouTube is testing out playable games. This comes from Grace Benfell over at GameSpot. YouTube has begun to publicly test its upcoming Playables feature, integrating games into the video hosting website along movie rentals, YouTube Shorts, music, and whatever else is on the platform. According to a report from 9 to 5 Google, employees were testing the feature earlier this year. Now, YouTube has updated its list of test features and experiments with Playables. Select users can play games on the website or app on both desktop and mobile. If you are one of the users with access, you will see a section on YouTube called Playables. These games will show up alongside other content on the feed. They will appear in your YouTube library, where you can also control your saved game progress. YouTube has yet to provide any details about what sorts of games will be available on the service. One of the games employees tested was Stack Bounce, featured on Google's Game Snacks platform. However, it is unknown if Stack Bounce is part of this test or if other Game Snacks games will be included. It's also unclear how game developers can get their games on YouTube should they want to. This is kind of an interesting feature. I think it's a good idea. I think streaming gaming has just gotten better and better over the years, and what a better platform than YouTube to have video game streaming on their site. Now, I do wonder, will we get games like Assassin's Creed? Will we get games like Starfield? Like, are we going to get games like that, or is it going to be just sort of Google Play games, mobile games, kind of crappy games that you can just kind of play on YouTube while you're scrolling around? Maybe that would be kind of lame. I think it'd be an interesting feature to actually have streaming games. I think for like hardcore gamers like me and you, whoever is watching, we're going to be more interested in something like Xbox Game Pass or the PlayStation Plus Extra. But for the casual gamer, they see this on their front page of YouTube. This could be a pretty compelling get for some of them. And as time goes on, you know, I have YouTube Premium. Maybe I'll switch off of Xbox Game Pass and just get the YouTube stuff for my streaming needs and gets, you know what I mean? So kind of an interesting thing coming out of YouTube. Unexpected, but potentially pretty cool, probably pretty lame. I mean, especially after the abysmal failure of Google Stadia. So maybe this is just their way of integrating Stadia into YouTube. Google is kind of known for starting projects and then dismantling the projects and then just integrating those projects into already existing products. If you remember, Google tried starting a social media back in the day called what was it called, Google Plus or something like that, and now Google Plus is just integrated into your Gmail, and then your Gmail is integrated into your YouTube, and it's all one kind of big connected thing. So connecting Stadia just directly into your YouTube and your Gmail, just keeping it all in one place is kind of a smart idea. I think creating a bunch of different sort of subcategories for all these things makes it too confusing, and I think you gain more benefit and free advertising just by putting it on an already successful platform like YouTube. Next piece of news here. This is a big piece of news. This is what everyone was talking about last week. Sources say that Nintendo showed Switch 2 demos at Gamescom. This comes from Andy Robinson over at Video Games Chronicle. Nintendo showed off tech demos for its Nintendo Switch successor behind closed doors at Gamescom, it's understood. That's according to a new report from Eurogamer, which VGC can corroborate via our own sources. According to the publication, Nintendo privately showed invited developers specially prepared tech demos for its next-generation games console, which could launch next year. One quote-unquote Switch 2 demo is understood to have been an improved version of the Switch launch title Zelda Breath of the Wild, running at a higher frame rate and resolution than the original game did, on hardware targeting the new console specs. But there was no suggestion the game will actually be re-released. Another VGC source claimed that Nintendo showcased Epic's impressive The Matrix Awakens Unreal Engine 5 tech demo, originally released to showcase the power of PlayStation 5's and Xbox Series X's in 2021. Running on target specs for its next console. The demo is said to have been running using NVIDIA's DLSS upscaling technology with advanced ray tracing enabled and visuals comparable to Sony's and Microsoft's current gen consoles. However, it should be noted, this does not mean the Switch successor will sport raw power anywhere near that of PS5 or Xbox Series X, which aren't portable devices. DLSS, Deep Learning Super Sampling, is a feature exclusive to NVIDIA's graphics cards. On PC, it works by using AI to upscale the resolution of games, effectively allowing developers to achieve higher graphical settings and better frame rates on weaker hardware. According to Digital Foundry analysis, DLSS at any normal screen distance looks almost as good as the real thing. Notably, Nintendo filed patents for potential AI upscaling technology plans back in March 2020. This is super exciting news, both that developers are seeing the new Switch 2, meaning that our guesses about the Switch 2 coming out next year becomes more and more of a reality, but also the fact that it's going to have hardware comparable to the PS5 using this DLSS upscaling technology. I think it's such a genius idea. And the fact that they're putting in patents to do this, I think really showcases that Nintendo is pushing for a handheld that's affordable while also having power. And I feel like that's going to be their move for their next console. They always have some sort of gimmick. So let's break it down. Their gimmicks, going back to the GameCube, right? The GameCube had a handle, so you could bring it around with you, right? That was that gimmick. The Wii had the Wii Joy-Cons. The Wii U had the little portable thing that you could use in your house. And of course, the Switch is the hybrid console that you can plug into your TV and you can bring it on the go. This, I believe, is going to be a console that is a hybrid with a lot of power. Granted, it's artificial power, but it's still going to be able to play those games. And on a handheld, I don't think it really matters if it's artificial or not, because it's going to look good enough on, you know, that small screen. And I believe it's going to be probably more affordable than what you're going to get with a Steam Deck, right? The Steam Deck is pretty affordable these days, but you know, if you want a lot of space on your Steam Deck, you're spending upwards of $600. For the cheapest one, it's $400. So a new Switch coming out, if it comes out at like the price point of like $300, and it's playing games that are comparable to a PS5, that's going to be huge. And that also puts Nintendo in the same sort of market as PlayStation for the first time in a long time. Games like, you know, Call of Duty haven't come to Nintendo in a very, very long time. Assassin's Creed hasn't really come to Nintendo in a long time, other than like the old ports. So games like that can finally come back to Nintendo hardware. And, you know, that's something that Activision was talking about during the Xbox trial, that they said that they had plans to bring Call of Duty to Nintendo. And this seems like the way they're going to do it. And to me, this actually very much excites me. I was a little worried, like, what could the Nintendo Switch 2 be? You know, they always do some sort of weird gimmick. And if the gimmick is just, hey, we're using AI to upscale our games to make them look incredible on this device, that's a good gimmick to have, and not a stupid gimmick like a second screen that you can only use in your house. So I'm very excited by what we could see from the Switch 2. Like I said, we do have a Nintendo Direct coming next week, potentially. You know, as rumored. Could we see the Switch 2 there? Could we see more of this? It does seem interesting that all these reports came out last week, as well as the report that we're going to get a Nintendo Direct next week. Could be pretty huge news next week. We'll have to wait and see. Very, very excited about that. Well, that's kind of all the news we have for the week. Not a very eventful week, but we had a couple big pieces of news, and I really appreciate you guys being here and hanging out for the week. I do want to talk about next week in games. Next week in games, we do have Evernights coming to PS5 and PS4 and PC on September 12th. We have Nour Play With Your Foods coming to PS5, PS4, PC, and Mac on September 12th. Super Bomberman R2 is coming to everything on September 12th. Gunbrella is coming to Switch and PC on September 13th. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, The Hidden Treasures of Area Zero comes to the Switch on September 13th. Ad Infinitum comes to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and PC on September 14th. AK Zoloti, it's spelled AKXOLOTI, comes to PS5, Xbox Series X, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on September 14th. Deceit 2 comes to PC on September 14th. Dune Spice Wars finally comes out on PC, September 14th. Monster Hunter Now comes to iOS and Android on September 14th. Solar Ash is coming to Xbox Series and Xbox One on September 14th. The Crew Motorfest is coming to everything except for the Switch on September 14th. Thunder Ray is coming to everything on September 14th, and Batten Kaitos 1 and 2 HD Remaster is coming to Switch on September 15th. Once again, I really appreciate you guys being here. I hope you guys are enjoying these kind of shorter episodes. You know, we normally do like hour-long podcasts, but I've been trying out this new shorter length, kind of more edited style, and I've been kind of enjoying it. I think it's kind of a cool idea. So once again, you can check this out in podcast form by searching for Last Week in Games on Spotify and other podcast services. Check us out on YouTube, of course. Lonercast. Check us out on Twitch, twitch.tv/Lonercast. I'm always streaming games over there. Recently, I just beat Ratchet & Clank. Was planning to move on to Ratchet & Clank Going Commando, so check that out. We've been having a lot of fun over there on twitch.tv/Lonercast. And if you want, you can check me out on Twitter or X at Lonercast1. I don't really use it that much. Ever since the X stuff, I deleted my personal account, and I rarely post anything on the Lonercast one, but you can follow us over there. Yeah, and I appreciate it. We're also on TikTok. I post random shit on TikTok all the time. Just check out Lonercast on TikTok. Once again, I appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you next week.